Calling to order the August 28th, 2025 regular meeting of the San Francisquito Creek Joint Powers Authority. If the clerk can call the roll.
Director Abrica?
Here.
Director Combs?
Here.
We're expecting Director Gaucher, Director Shui?
Here.
And Director Stone.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. We'll move on to approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Okay, so a motion from Director Shui.
Second.
Thank you.
Are we ready?
And we have a second from Director Abrica.
Okay. Director Abrica? Can I take your vote to approve the agenda? Abrica?
Yes, I did second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not hear you. Thank you. Director Combs?
Yes.
Director Gaucher is not present. Director Shui?
Yes.
And Director Stone.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to public comment. Do we have any public comment from any members of the audience or on Zoom on anything that's not on the agenda?
I have no request to speak at this time.
All right. Then we'll move to approval of meeting minutes from June 26th, 2025, our last meeting. A motion to approve.
Motion to approve meeting minutes of June 26, 2025.
I'll second.
Thank you. Director Abrica?
Yes.
Director Combs?
Yes.
Director Shui?
Yes.
Director Stone.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Nice and efficient. Okay, let's get to our action items. We have 3 this afternoon. Our first one, 5A, consider and approve resolution adopting the 5th Amendment to Executive Director's Employment Agreement. Turn it over. I'm not sure if staff or me kind of introduces this one.
I would leave it up to you, the chair, to make a statement.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Then just as a reminder, I was appointed as the labor negotiator by this board, engaged in labor negotiations with the executive director, Ms. Bruce, who is an unrepresented employee. As required under the Brown Act, I am providing a summary of the proposed amendment to the executive director's employment agreement. So based on the direction from the board in the closed session in June and following my discussion with Ms. Bruce, I'm making a recommendation to the board that the JPA accept the board's direction to increase Ms. Bruce's annual salary as follows. By increasing the salary by 2.5% and then applying a 2.5% cost of living adjustment, resulting in an annual salary of $207,203.47, which will be effective July 1st of 2025. This amount is consistent with the amount that was approved by the board for the fiscal year 25 to 26 budget. This item approves an amendment to the employment agreement reflecting these terms. Great. So any, I guess we'll do some, open it up for public comment if there is any.
I have no request to speak at this time.
Okay, bring it back to the board for any discussion, questions, or motions. Okay, seeing none, I'll move the recommendation of approving the resolution adopting the 5th Amendment to Executive Director's Employment Agreement.
I'll second.
Great. And seeing no further discussion or hands, then let's call the vote.
Director Abrica?
Yes.
Director Combs?
No.
Director Gaucher is not present. Sorry. Director Shui?
Yes.
And Director Stone.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-1. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Move on then to item 5B, consider approving a resolution adopting the fiscal year 25-26 salary schedule. Now this, I believe I turn it over to staff.
Sure. Item 5B is the updated salary schedule for everyone on staff. It's a Brown Act requirement that we do an oral report summarizing not only my salary adjustment, but the entire salary schedule. And it is as follows. Executive Director's salary effective July 1st for the fiscal year 25-26 is $207,203.47. Senior Project Manager's salary is $160,784.97. Finance and Administration Manager and Clerk of the Board's salary is $152,444.08. And the project manager's salary for this fiscal year is $140,142.10. These would all be effective July 1st, so retroactively. And please let me know if you have any questions. These are all reflective of the budget that you approved back in June.
Okay, thank you. Let's move to public comment on this item, if there is any.
I have no request to speak at this time.
All right, then bring it back to the dais. Any questions, comments, or motions?
I think I know this is part of the budget, but I think for the public record of this meeting, can we highlight what the percentage changes those represent across the salaries?
You want to do it or do you want me to do it?
Sorry.
Do you want to do it?
I could, but I don't have the past board packet with me if the clerk of the board has that
So,
information.
Yeah, no problem. I can go ahead and do it. Each employee, including executive director, received a 2.5% salary increase and a 2.5% COLA.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing no further questions or discussion, then I will move adopting the resolution, adopting the fiscal year 25-26 salary schedule.
I'll second that.
Thank you. And we can take the vote.
Director Abrika,
Yes.
Director Combs,
Yes.
Director Schway,
Yes.
Director Stone.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that moves us to 5C, consider approving a resolution authorizing executive director to negotiate and execute a contract with Montrose Incorporated for the provision of consulting services for a stream maintenance permit for the San Francisquito Creek, including updated scope of work to include permitting for sediment management. And I will turn it over to the director.
Okay, as you read in your board packet, this is an expansion of an existing contract that has come before you. We had the opportunity to expand their scope of work for additional cost to include some very helpful services around the planning and permitting of sediment management, which the community and staff and the board members have expressed concern and interest in. And that's the accumulation of sediment at the West Bay Shore and Highway 101 overcrossing. So with the inclusion of that scope of work, their proposed scope is in excess of what it was initially authorized for. That additional $13,240 out beyond the budgeted amount for their scope can be shifted from other unencumbered budgeted consulting funds. And I would encourage your support for the approval of this contract.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment on this item?
I have no request to speak at this time.
Okay, then we'll return to the dais. Any questions, comments, or motions?
Chair, I have a question for staff. So the final product of this amended contract is a stream maintenance program plus all the regulatory permits
Yes.
based on that stream maintenance program.
Yes.
So do we know how many regulatory permits we need?
I would defer to my colleague Tess.
They're listed in the scope, but it is, we do, if, that's the Water Board, CDFW, NIMS, archaeological, it includes CEQA, it includes, which assumes mitigated neg deck for this work. And they're all listed in the scope. But definitely, just like Valley Water Stream Maintenance Program, we would need to get additional permits for sediment removal, but wanted included in the program, just like Valley Waters.
Okay. I was going to ask about the CEQA compliance with this maintenance, I guess, maintenance, quick maintenance program. Yeah, and you just mentioned that the scope includes completing a mitigated negative declaration for this work? Okay.
Correct.
Okay, and based on my experience, this kind of work in general requires the EIR. So I hope we can do it in a MND, but just need to be on top of it. Yeah, we don't want to be sued or whatever that we're not in compliance with the CEQA requirement.
Okay. I did take the scope and had each of our member agencies review this scope and provide input and comments. And so the scope was reviewed by staff at all our member agencies.
But just as the consultant is developing this maintenance program, new information may come. Maybe your current assumption is
Yes.
for MND, but then as the study continues, it may turn out that a EIR is a more appropriate document. Okay, so.
Understood, and we will certainly take that under advisement. That is an important point.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments? I'll just say I appreciate the expanded scope of services here. I think this has been an important piece and a piece that we've struggled with as an agency, especially being able to get that sediment removal and especially at the 101 overpass. So I think this is I was really glad to see this. Yes.
I would add another layer of complexity here is when it is time to do that sediment removal and in the process leading up to that, we will also have to be coordinating closely with Caltrans. We already have a, unintended, open channel of communication with them. So I think that for our work in that area, it is already helpful that we have those positive relationships. I don't know if it will make the process easier, but it will at least make it friendlier.
Good to know. And I know that's been developed over the years. So any other questions, comments, or we'll take a motion? Okay. Well, then I will approve the resolution.
I came in late, so.
I'll make a motion to.
Oh, okay, great.
To approve the resolution authorizing the executive director to negotiate and execute a contract with Montrose for the provision of consulting services for a stream maintenance permit for the San Francisquito Creek, including updated scope of work to include permitting for sediment management.
We'll second.
All right, yeah, great. Thank you. Take the vote.
Yes. Director Abrika?
Yeah.
Director Combs?
Yes.
Director Gaucher?
Yes.
Director Schway?
Yes.
And Director Stone?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, that does it for the action items. We'll move on to item 6, our information items. So we'll do 6A, the executive director's report.
All right, so thanks everybody and welcome back from a summer hiatus. We have had a few things going on. As you know, we are working towards providing presentations to some of our member agencies. The dates for some of those presentations have shifted somewhat. The most current dates are listed there. Coming to an East Palo Alto City Council chamber near you will be September 2nd. So Greer and I will both, Chair Stone and I will both be there in person the evening of September 2nd in East Palo Alto. For Reach 2 project updates, we have received WRA Incorporated's initial proposed scope, schedule, and budget, and have been reviewing that and discussing it internally and shared it with our member technical colleagues. They're providing us their review and feedback in the next 2 weeks or so. We will bring the details of that further evaluated and, if necessary, clarified scope, schedule, and budget, probably to you in September for task order 2 of the WRA contract for your approval. We have retained the services of Black & Veatch. We had a kickoff meeting on August 14th to initiate their work. This is a study of the potential feasibility of bypass tunnels, underground tunnels or culverts that can convey water outside the channel underground from above where the water typically breaks out of the creek and conveying it downstream to a part of the channel where there is more capacity. New technologies, horizontal tunneling, microtunneling, new technologies that may not have been as advanced as they were when the EIR was done may give us more insights about the viability of these approaches. Tunneling and a large bypass was very briefly considered as part of the initial EIR process, but it was not deeply considered. So we're taking a closer look to see, is there a way of utilizing new technologies or new techniques and either minimizing some costs, minimizing some impacts, or providing us some more options for project design. We anticipate having their final report end of October, early November. So we will be bringing that to you at the November board meeting. So in terms of an alternatives evaluation, as you know, the project itself is made up of many different components that together reach the desired project goal. We discussed briefly at the last meeting phasing the work of the project, with phase 1 being those project elements that we know will be beneficial and will not transfer risk, are within the existing EIR, and for which we have some grant funding. So those would include the sites, Site 2, perhaps Site 1 widening in East Palo Alto and Palo Alto, and the replacement of the wooden temporary parapet or flood wall from the University Avenue bridge upstream along Woodland Avenue in East Palo Alto. We would like to advance the work on planning and design for those elements, again, because they don't transfer risk. We have funding. They're within our existing EIR. While we are doing that work, we can also advance the other components of the overall project once we have some of these additional studies completed and we have some more either foreclosed or opened opportunities for project elements. So we would like to approach our project that way. We'll be bringing more information to you, as I said, after we have some of these special studies results available for your consideration. Otherwise, the table of progress and milestones and just general activity that we have been pursuing is available for you there. If you have any questions, I think Tess and I can answer. And if Tess and I can't answer, Deneen is attending remotely, and between the three of us, we can fill in any blanks.
Great. Thank you. Before we come back to the dais, we do public comment on this, right? Yeah.
We do.
So let's open it up for public comment first.
I have no request to speak at this time.
Okay. Thank you. Then we'll come back and Director Shui.
Thank you, Chair. Just a couple questions about the Black & Veatch contract. So Black & Veatch is brought on board to study a bypass alternative. Okay, and WRA is the main consultant that's doing the planning study. So how do you anticipate these two separate firms coordinating on their activities?
The Black & Veatch study is a very preliminary feasibility study. It is not intended to be an engineering or a planning study. It is to give us the answer, are there any technically viable large bypass opportunities? If the answer is no, it's a full stop. If the answer is yes, it may be a qualified yes, in which case we will need to begin more detailed conversations with staff and with board about how we would want to coordinate those studies. The first step is just sort of the Boolean, yes or no.
So this very preliminary study or feasibility, so is it hydraulic feasibility or tunnel technology feasibility?
Tunnel
Earlier you mentioned something about tunneling, yeah. But seems to me that this bypass alternative, the number one thing should be that whether it's going to, how does it pass through how much water as part of the overall solution. And then the tunneling technologies, it seems to me it's a secondary, it's more of a design consideration. But anyway,
Both
so
are
that's my question.
Yes, and the very important question, and we're actually asking and answering both of those questions. It is absolutely critical to know how much such a tunnel can pass, but there is an iterative process of what kind of technology gets you what size of a tunnel. And some kinds of technologies are not suitable for our local environment. So we have some space constraints, and we will be learning more, I'm sure.
And are we looking at the tunnel on the Menlo Park site or on Menlo Park and Palo Alto side?
Both sides.
Both sides. So you're looking at tunnel along the creek, tunnel doesn't cross the creek. It's either on the Menlo Park side or on the Palo Alto side.
I think the alignments are being reviewed. We had a very preliminary first look at their analyses this morning. Not ready to share our basic notes because it's just, it's still wet ink. But what we saw were alignments along Woodland Avenue that were ruled out. It's too narrow. It's too winding. The technology is not appropriate for that area. There is no space for shafts for the initial input. Other alignments that are either in Palo Alto or Palo Alto and East Palo Alto may be more viable in some situations, in some scenarios, it would cross underneath the creek.
Okay. Last question. How much is Black & Veatch contract to do all these things you just described?
$49,000 and some change.
$49,000. And I don't remember Black & Veatch contract came to the board for approval. So this is under your authority?
It is.
Okay, $49,000 for all that work you just described.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the report. I had a question on the, we go through phase 1, phase 2, and come up with some alternative. At that point is when we will get into a financial plan. I know in the past we've talked about, probably hiring someone who, once the project is defined, could, maybe the staff does that. I don't know, like how much is it going to cost? And then the next step would be, how are we going to finance that, including public finances or whatever, just having that. But then under phase 1, there is a mention about developing a cost-sharing framework. So yeah, how are we going to share the cost? But I don't see a cost estimate framework or something. So I mean, I think we need to do that first before engaging in who's going to pay for what. So I just wanted to make that clear here because it only mentions a cost-sharing framework.
There are a couple of things, and you're right. We need cost information, and we also need an apportionment of benefits so that we know which jurisdiction is benefiting and how much and
Right.
where to
Right,
help
but
inform
I
that
just,
conversation.
I don't see a bullet for that. I guess that's my question. I mean, it's kind of assumed, but I
Right.
think we need to put that in there somewhere,
Okay.
even if it's an estimate, because, well, not now, but a bullet that says we're going to develop a cost estimate
Summary
framework or
benefit.
whatever, including what you were saying, I think, about who's going to benefit or what areas are going to benefit, the parcels of that.
Okay.
So anyway, I would make that addition. I don't have the language for it, but yeah.
And just following up, Director Brick, I'm curious, maybe I'm not following, in phase 1, it says develop a cost sharing framework for the Reach 2 project, beginning with phase 1 project elements. That's different than what you're saying?
No, that's the one.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I was just pointing out, I was just pointing out that there's a cost sharing framework. So that's already like, how are we going to share the cost? I was saying, well, what is the cost?
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So, well, yeah, at least some framework for the cost or some estimate so that people know what they're sharing. That was my point.
So is where we're landing that an estimate is built into the cost sharing, an analysis of the cost sharing framework? Is that where we're landing, or is that not what everyone understands?
That would be my understanding.
Okay, all right.
But I don't know what others,
That it is.
that it would be.
It's built in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm just saying, if the public reads this, it just says, oh, I see, so they're going to figure out how to share it. I guess they know what the cost is. And will we? I mean, I just want to make sure that people know that we are making it.
Was that staff's understanding too, to make sure that we're all clear?
Right, just making sure that the reader of the ED report understands that this is a multi-step process and that a financing framework or a cost-sharing framework just doesn't spring out of the ground fully formed. It's backed up by cost estimates and other information.
Yeah, great. Okay, anyone else?
I just have a brief question. Thank you again for this. As we're preparing for the winter, what are we anticipating for the winter weather-wise? Do we know if we're, what to expect or?
I have heard, read initial speculation from the National Weather Service that we're looking at the development of a La Nina year. So cool and dry is the general trend for La Nina seasons, but we're still fairly far away from the winter rainy season. So I haven't heard any definitive National Weather Service prognostications. We do keep a close eye on that. As you know, the multi-agency coordinating group, the MAC, usually has a fall exercise where we hear from National Weather Service folks and they tell us about their more detailed long-range forecasts. So we'll be sure and keep all of you and all of our community members posted on what we learn.
Thank you.
I would also imagine cuts that we've seen to that agency will also probably slow all that down, unfortunately. And then one, I think a thought for members to consider, maybe we don't really need to have the discussion today, but maybe be able to provide feedback to staff, or we could continue the discussion next time. I think as far as how do we balance maintaining a real, I guess, kind of deliberate schedule to try to be able to bring these changes in a timely way for our communities that have been really demanding this for decades. But how do we balance that while also making sure that the work that WRA and staff is doing is being provided to our own staffs in a timely way to be able to get feedback from our staff at the city level to JPA staff to us as well. And I think that's going to have to be, I would imagine that might slow the process down a bit. I'm not sure, but to make sure that that our staffs kind of feel like they understand exactly what is going on for our own public works departments and everything else to be able to inform us and provide feedback to staff. So how is that kind of being built in as we move forward?
We've heard at JPA staff, myself especially, have heard how critical it is for our member technical colleagues to provide input on the work products of the consultants, the early drafts of scopes of work, of basically all of the major elements of the project as we move forward. We have an incredibly deep well of expertise and experience and committed professional colleagues. So it's valuable to us to get their input. It does take time. For every major deliverable, if you will, if there is a round of reviews, it adds at least 6 weeks, sometimes 8, for that cycle of, here is our draft, please give us comments. You have time to do that. We bring it back. We integrate all those comments, respond to them, update the draft, send it back to make sure we have incorporated responses to comments as was envisioned by the commenter, and then bring it back for a final draft. So it's you can have, what do they say, good, cheaper, fast, pick 2. And I think there are times that the community may find it frustrating that we take this time. And I hope that the community understands that when we take this time, it's because we want the very best project, and we want our members to have a full-throated, supportive hooray when something is decided upon, that there is consensus, and that they have had ample opportunity to provide their expertise.
Great. Appreciate that, and I think something maybe for our own, for the directors to be able to go back, talk to our own staff, really understand that, and maybe be able to provide that information again, either offline to staff or at our next meeting, unless others are kind of prepared to respond with their preference now.
I like that.
Okay. Thank you. Sounds good. Then maybe the next meeting, I guess probably be fine to do that within the executive director's report, to kind of just be able to provide that feedback at that time if that works.
That does.
Okay, great. Any further questions or discussion on this before we move on? Okay.
Thank you.
Seeing none, close that, and we'll move to board member announcements, information items, and requests. Do we have any? No. Okay. And then with that, we are adjourned until our September meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.